Oh, hello, hello. It's time for another cup of tea. Gonzo, it's been a while because of that Arsenal game last week during the week.
Yeah, hasn't it? Yeah, was it 3 games in 8 days, something like that? So yes, yeah, we do previews, reviews, vlogs, loads of other stuff as well. We don't get a chance to sit down and have a cup of tea, do we? So yes, nice to be back, mate.
You're wearing a new t-shirt. I've not seen that t-shirt before.
Um, funny enough, it's my wife's 90, right? It is just a West Ham top,
Well,
but yeah, I know I do normally wear her 90s, of course. But I had a shower and I said, right, I need something to wear. Like we're doing a cup of tea, and she started pulling out all these tops. I can't wear that. It's a cup of tea. It's a West Ham thing. She went, oh, wear this. So I can't wear that. So it's that or nothing. So on it goes. There you go.
it was probably our best night you could have worn.
Yes.
Weird you came with a pink frilly one on. This
If
one.
I'd worn the other one, there would have been drama, certainly, mate.
We beat Swansea, but what we didn't mention, we've not really mentioned about that game, was it was Mark Noble's 400th game for the club.
Yeah, passed me by without really noticing, to be honest. And hell of an achievement, mate. This day and age, one player at the same club to reach 400 appearances. You will not see it many times. I don't know. I'm sure you might have even looked at some stats. Last person I really remember is maybe Lampard or Gerrard or somebody like that, really doing that sort of thing. You just don't see it all the time, do you? Really?
No, I think I don't know if we'll see it again at West Ham. Do you think we'll see it again? 400 is quite a lot of games. I mean, don't know what Ginger's on, but while he's been here a while, he's been in and out the team while he's been here, so that sort of dampens that one. But Winston Reid must have clocked up a couple of hundred maybe. But do you think it'll be done again?
I think it can be done. It's hard because there's so many of the players do move on so quickly now. I think one way it sort of would be done would be if we did sort of get taken over and go to the next level or something like that and start buying huge players. Then the ones that were young enough with sufficient quality possibly stay on and get that. So if you like, remember, you look at Chelsea, for instance. John Terry, Lampard, for instance, they were there before the big money came in and they were good enough to stay on. I think Man City as well, if it wasn't for injuries, I think Vincent Company was bought whilst they were under the previous ownership. Now, if someone like him, even Zabaleta was, I think sometimes you can get a player that stays with you, not necessarily someone that comes through the ranks either, but it is going to be very, very rare for anybody to come through and get 400 caps, 400 appearances, that's for sure.
Do you class him? Do you class him as a legend? I've seen a lot of debate about this. I know my opinion. I think you probably can guess what I'm going to say because you know my opinion on Noble. But do you class him as a West Ham legend?
No, I think it's very, very difficult to do that for me to class him as a legend. I don't know what the criteria are for legend. It's a bit like saying what's a big club. I think it's very, very hard for me. It's it's Trevor Brooking and it's people like that. It's Bobby Moore. It's people who won us trophies and things like that. And whilst the lack of trophies has nothing to do with Mark Noble, certainly the circumstances of the club and those around him. I think he's a modern day icon. I think he's an iconic player, a modern day iconic player for West Ham. I think if he carries on, I think he can still be a legend. I think he can. I think if he goes on, he makes another 200 appearances, then goes on to the coaching team, and maybe one day Mark Noble becomes manager. I think possibly there's certainly every possibility for him one day being a legend, but I wouldn't call him so right at this moment. No.
I kind of do. I think you're right though. How do you class it? I think you kind of get two. You get one, which is talent, and he doesn't fit into legend for that. But I think he fits into legend for servant. Um, but it depends what you class as being a legend or not. But I think he scrapes in there just because of his service to the club. Um, well, we beat Swansea. Are we safe yet, Gonzo, or is it sort of? Do you think we're one or two a win short? Do you think?
Well, I think we need 4 points to be perfectly sure. Will Swansea make up the 8 point deficit? I think our goal difference is a bit better as well. The suggestion is that they've got a tough run in, but also the suggestion was that Crystal Palace had a tough run in, and we saw what they did. I think it was on Monday night. So sometimes you can raise your level when they do. They've got Llorente coming back. I thought they were pretty poor against us as well. I've got to say that wasn't one of the better teams that have come to the London Stadium this season. I think they do have some good players. I think Montero looked like he can be sharp. Tom Carroll's a good player. Llorente clearly is somebody that that they would look towards and was potentially linked with Chelsea. I think Ashley Williams been a big loss for them now, and I think when it comes to those crunch games at the end of the season that they have to win against the tough teams, I think that sort of that leader at centre back may well, or lack of one, should I say, may well cost them. So I think we're probably safe. What I'd like to see us do a number on Sunderland. Otherwise, if we do lose Sunderland, they get something. Even if it's a draw, it's squeaky bums again, isn't it?
Yeah, well, our preview for Sunderland's live tomorrow night at 8:30, so you can join us for that. But I'm the same. I think we'll win on Saturday. I think we'll be fine. But it's a very weird league right now. There's 3 teams as well as us on the same amount of points. We're all 4 points off ninth, but if we all lose on Saturday, we're all looking over our shoulders again. It's a bit of a strange league. I'm not knowing it to be this close at the bottom before. But the manager then, let's talk about the manager quickly. I mean, his job's been linked with, again, by different people this time. But on Saturday, you said you think he's gone in the summer. Do you still think that? Because obviously when we do the review, we're straight after the game and you're all a bit emotional. We've had a few beers, blah, blah, blah. But you still think he's going in the summer?
Yeah. I mean, you're right. We are emotional and we have had a few beers, but I don't think I said that because I was emotional and had a drink. I thought he'd had a stay of execution. I thought if we'd have lost, he would have been gone then and there. I thought he's sort of that wing got him until the end of the season. In retrospect, now when you listen to the noises that are coming out of the club, it seems to be there's no smoke without fire with our club. There are too many leaks. You know, our club's like a bit of a colander, and there are too many leaks that come out, and we know the sources, and we know the people that get fed the stories, or the people that listen, or have got their ear to the ground, and there's a number of them, and I just think there's been a little bit of talk about him possibly seeing out his last year, not getting awarded another contract, and then we get the conversation come up today, which was maybe he wants to look at his backroom staff. Now, again, that story's not come from nowhere, you know, and it's something, as you know, that I'm quite keen for him to do, to particularly to look at his fitness coach. And just to say, the noises coming out of the club would almost suggest that there might be a slight appetite for him to stay next season. But if we lose all our remaining games this season and we go back to some close fought thing, if we go down to Burnley's the last game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, if we go down to Burnley, still not safe, and then we have to win that one, even if it's sort of mathematically improbable. I think if it gets down to then and it's a last day of the season type thing to stay safe, I do think he'll go. I think if we now get another 4, 5, 6 points between now and the end of the season, possibly he'll get to see his last year, on condition that he changes some of his coaching staff in the same way that Sam Allardyce was given a condition that he brought in an attacking coach in Teddy Sheringham. What
do you want to happen?
Yeah, I would like that scenario that I said. I would like that. I would like to see him given. I've just, as you know, I felt tactically this season we've been slightly wanting, and I mean Frankie brought it up in the last when we did possibly our last cup of tea. Was it a cup of tea? Whatever. We did a show, and he said that was the Arsenal. It was the Arsenal game, and he said I can't believe nobody brought up how knackered we looked, and he was absolutely right. And I'm surprised none of us brought it up because I remember thinking it when I saw it, and we do seem to be not at the races sometimes, and a couple of the players, albeit ones that are left or gone out on loan, have said that our training regime, there's rumours as well that Arbeloa, the reason he's fallen out with Bilic is because Arbeloa's a very, very fit guy, does triathlons, his fitness is meant to be second to none. There's a rumour that he's not playing because he had crosswords with Bilic and said you need to up the training, and it wasn't taken very well. Just a rumour, as I say. So I do think if we could get some additional coaches in and they helped Bilic, and Bilic would have to be open to it. I think Bilic's possibly a proud man, probably a very loyal man. He might turn around and say, hold on, these guys have been with me all my career, they're my mates, I'm staying loyal to them, you do not shove them out. And that would be a commendable thing to do. You couldn't criticise him for that, but I would hope that he would want the job and want to stay enough to eat a bit of humble pie and say, do you know what, I will take on a modern fitness coach and then a tactical coach. That would be absolutely ideal. Because the manager being linked with have not filled me with confidence. I mean, Silva looks handy at Hull, and I think why haven't we been linked with him at all yet? You know, he's got a really good win record, not just with us, but with Olympiacos. I think he possibly was at Sporting Lisbon or Porto, as well as Hull. Sorry, not us. And it's Jankovic at Fulham and Mancini. Quite frankly, I prefer to keep Bilic.
I almost feel a bit sorry for Bilic with the fitness thing. I do agree that we don't look overly fit, but with the amount of injuries we've had this season, to what players and the length of them, I almost feel like I can't really blame him if he's too chicken to crank the intensity of the training up, because if it came out that a player gets injured in training, everyone's going to go, "What are you doing in the training up? You've got no players. Why are you risking Lanzini in training? He shouldn't be doing very little training. You should be looking after him." So, but I do think that fitness. But I think the solution has to be that he sort of adds to the backroom staff rather than replaces it. And that way, he gets to keep his ice skating mate and his long jump mate, but he also gets it, like you said, people who are a bit more modern, a bit more, I don't know, forward thinking with technology or whatever. But it seems like we've got a very small backroom staff anyway. It's almost like just 5 people plus Bilic. I know there'll be people up at the cones, etc., but it just feels like it's a bit small. So I hope that happens. You know what my thoughts would be. And I think he's had a raw deal this summer, not just with the board, but with injuries, with Pyatt, blah, blah. But I think he needs next season. But the problem is he's almost off a tough start already. We've got our first 3 games in the league are away from home. It's almost like, give him a break. You know, you just can't catch a break at all. You know, can't have any home friendlies either to get used to the stadium because of that athletics event that's on. So his hands are tied completely. We can't even play a home game until September. But we'll see. But I think we're gonna have to chat about this more often. But I hope he stays next season. I hope he turns around. But the people that get to decide if Bilic stays or goes has been in the press the last couple of days. Was it this Telegraph or someone that was making up some rumours that they're looking?
I think it's the Express. To be fair, the Express. Yeah. Well, I just said earlier on that we know who the sources are and we know the sort of reliable people who know the information coming out of the club. But it goes the same for journalists as well. We know there are certain trusted, reliable journalists who are closely affiliated to the owners. You've got to remember the owners are newspaper people. So obviously they've built up a lot of contacts in the newspaper world. A lot of journalists know them. Some of the journalists worked for them. The Express, I don't think is one of those. I don't think it's the Standard. I don't think it's the Mirror. So I'd take it with a pinch of salt. Also, just a nonsense anyway. I mean, no multi-billionaire is going to come in and say, "Look, here, guys. Right, okay. Well, I'll take. Is 100 million. I'll take 5% or 20% or whatever, and there's my money. There's an investment, and I'll just sit as part of the board, and you guys carry on making the decisions, and that's fine by me." No way. You know, anyone that's accumulated that sort of money is a businessman, a successful businessman, is going to have a whopping great ego and is going to want to have a controlling stake. I just don't see it, because they'll just turn around and say, "Well, actually, rather than give you 100 million, I'm just going to go and buy, to pluck a team out of the air, Aston Villa, and then just turn them into a big, and I'll be in charge of that." So I think
it's a non-story. I mean, to be fair to the board, Sullivan and Gold, they've always said from day one they'd welcome investment, sort of that extra 15% that they don't own or whatever is up for grabs. If someone can buy that and plough the money in, then please do, etc. So they've always said that. So it's nothing really new. But like you said, they're not going to sell a lot of part of the club and just stay on. It just doesn't make sense at all. I think it's almost like all or nothing, really. You want us gone, you give us a great big walloping check and we'll get out of here. But one of the board's kids, Jack Sullivan, he started writing for The Sun. Have you seen that today?
No.
Oh, well, this will be an instant reaction. Jack Sullivan's now writing for The Sun, along with Karen Brady.
Well, there we go. We said we don't know that the Express have got ties with the club. Now you know if you're already transfer news in The Sun, it's going to be bang on, isn't it?
It's not gone
so
down.
What's he doing? Is he? He's not. He can't be. He's not telling anything.
No, the one he did today was sort of his post-match thoughts on the Swansea game. But it's not gone down too well, because people are saying it's the worst newspaper to write for as well. But he shouldn't be writing for paper anyway. What's your thoughts on it? Do you think he should?
I don't. Doesn't bother me. I mean, to be fair, I think to a certain extent, sometimes Karen Brady puts her foot in it a bit of a Sun column, and I think sometimes you know, it doesn't help. I think if he's going to be writing match reports, I think it does any harm at all, to be perfectly frank. I mean,
Oh, it's okay. I think it's okay when we're winning 1-0, but if we get beat 2-0 by
well,
Sun,
he probably won't write one. If we get beat 2-0, he probably won't write one, because that's the nature of the football club. That's the nature of the media machine. That's just the nature of the way it goes. You know, they need to promote good news. They don't want to promote bad news. I think it's when you're put in that situation. The big one for me, funny enough, was always Alan Shearer. Alan Shearer, I always looked at him when he was playing as the most highly media trained player out there. Michael Owen as well. They're almost like clones of each other. And you always watch and think, you know what, this is just a non-interview. I don't care what they're going to say. They're going to say nothing controversial. They're going to come out with a load of cliches. And because they've been media coached to that high standard, and the world has gone away from that now. The world is now on social media. Now we actually do have instant reactions, and now you can flick on the computer or your phone. You don't flick on the computer, pick up your phone and find exactly what people think, no holds barred. Sometimes you even have to click a little button that says this contains sensitive material, which I never click, of course. But you know, people have got no appetite for that sort of thing. So I think sometimes when you've got to produce something and then there is a loss, then you'll get a load of cliches, which will basically be, oh well, I thought the lads did well today, but it wasn't to be. Onwards and upwards to the next game. And you know what I mean? There's really nothing you can say. I mean, we've we've got a friend that was writing for the ladies team. And you know what I'm talking about here, and you know the full story, but others don't. And we had a friend who was writing for the ladies team in its previous incarnation, and it was going to people, and I think they got beaten 5-0. Was it the 5-0 one? Do you remember, Gio?
yeah, they got beat 5-0, and you got told to write a positive.
Yeah.
You had one shot target the whole game. One meant to write, so you just refused to write anything. But with this Jack Sullivan thing, I think he's put himself under a bit of pressure. He doesn't really need to. I don't think he should have done it at all, because it's like I said, it's great when we win, and you could say it, but one, it's the stun. It never goes down well with football fans, never mind West Ham fans and just normal people, really. But I don't know. It's a type of thing that the one thing our board get criticised a lot for, apart from stumping up money, is for opening their mouth too much. And we've now got the Sun putting himself in a position where he opened himself up to criticism. I just think it's a bit unnecessary. I thought when I seen it, I thought, oh no. I read the comments. I knew what the comments were going to say, and they're writing off. Everyone's just saying, "What you do? Why are you writing for this paper?" And he's put himself in the spotlight, didn't he? I can see why he's done it, though. Of course, anyone would think, "Oh yeah, I'll write for the Sun. I'll write for a national paper." But I think I don't go. But speaking of papers, have you seen any transfer rumours with us linking us to players that tickles your fancy?
Well, obviously the Jack Wilshere one, I'm very, very keen on. Like that, obviously, because he's a West Ham fan. I think I like his style of play. Plays pass and move. Just keep saying, haven't I, that Lanzini needs somebody that he can play off. Jack Wilshere would certainly fit into that category as well. I think he needs a home, needs to be loved. I think we'd do that here. I saw us linked with Mandzukic, and I really do think, whilst there's no doubting that he's got some calibre as a striker, I think there's a couple of positions that we desperately need pace in, because I do think we're a slow team and we're crying out for a bit of pace. I think we need a bit of pace at the back. Now, I think if Winston Reid's playing and perhaps Masuaku's playing, then there's probably enough at the back to cover that. I also think we need some pace in wide areas. It's desperately evident when you see Snodgrass running around there. Actually, I'd quite like a fast winger. And the other thing is, sometimes when Andy Carroll, it's not working for Andy Carroll, then we need someone fast up front as well. And IU was deployed there in some capacity sometimes, or he was swapping position. He hasn't got outright pace, IU. And whenever he went up there, it was noticeable that he wasn't quite quick enough. So the last thing I want to see us do is bring in a striker who's not quick. I think we go for a striker and we pay money for a striker, not the Defoe thing. If he's going to be free and it's all right, for a couple of years, 18 months, fine. But I think we're going to pay money for a striker, and he is going to be our marquee signing that we've been waiting for goodness knows how long. Then I want to see that striker with pace. I wasn't impressed with that. We were linked to Ramsey, were we?
Who?
Aaron Ramsey, were we linked with him?
Well, I never seen that, but I'll take that with a pinch of salt. I've seen that rumor. I never seen that rumor at all. Where did you beat that? The Sun.
If I'd have read the Sun, I would have seen Jack's article, wouldn't I? Do you know, I've not picked up a newspaper in donkeys. What's this? I think it was in our roundup. It was in the Hammers Chat news roundup. It was our roundup, Cockney Hammers news roundup.
I don't know. It might have been. I don't know. I would take that.
It was on our website. It's our story. I don't know. It was obviously made up then if it's on our website. Yeah.
Yeah, I've not seen that one. I would take that one with the pinch of salt. I've seen the Mandzukic one. He's one of those strikers. I always think he's got a bigger reputation and ability precedes him to be. I don't know why. He's just sort of one of them that I think whenever I watch him, I just get frustrated. I just think you could be so much better, but you sort of hit your peak. Then I watched the Champions League quarterfinal last night. He was playing for Juventus. He was sort of left wing. He looked like he belonged in the Champions League quarterfinal. And you say lack of pace. He showed plenty of pace on that left wing. I think it was our second goal. He went bombing down the left with it as well. So he does have a little bit about him, but I don't believe it though. I just don't believe he'd go after a sort of a player like that. Unfortunately, I just can't see it happening. But all going quiet on the right back front. I said that it's last week. It seemed that Zabaleta was pretty much done and just waiting for us to secure our Premier League season for next year, and then it's sort of getting signed on the dotted line. Though I mean, £8,000 a week. Though I mean, that's a big chunk of money for 3 years for a right back, isn't it?
We've got to stop all this. We've got to stop paying the big wages, not the top wages, not Yaya Toure wages, but wages that people like comparable sized clubs, if you want. Forget the fact that we're in a 50-odd thousand seater stadium, all right? Comparable sized clubs would not be paying those wages. I don't think even Tottenham pay anyone 80 grand a week at the moment. And the fact that we're loading people like Font and 65 grand, Snodgrass on 60 grand, people like that, by all means, do you know what? Antonio, give him the money. There's a man that has proved his worth. Premier League, give him the money. But we have got to stop. I'm not saying Zabaleta is not Premier League proven, by the way. We've got to stop giving people these huge wages before they've done anything for us. 80 grand a week. I just hope that wouldn't be true, because it's such a huge financial commitment. I said yesterday with this Jose Font thing, it was a short-term fix, basically. So for us to commit ourselves to, even at a conservative estimate, 20 million in terms of wages and transfer fee, and that is conservative, for somebody who possibly won't get in the team next season, it's a huge thing. Stop committing these huge chunks of money to that. And I'm not sure that, I don't know, what, 3 years, 80 grand? How much is that? That's a lot of money. 15 million? I don't know. It's a lot of money.
I think with Font, you'd be able to maybe sell them in the summer if you wanted and get maybe half your fee back and sort of save. It's not so much the fee, it's what you're saving for the next year or so. With Zabaleta, I feel like it's time to build and stop repairing. It feels like we're repairing. We've got a leak, we'll repair it. Rather than rip out the whole drain and put a new one in, we'll just put something over it and then come back in a couple of years and do it again. I think it's time we stop repairing and we start building. I agree with you about the wages. It feels like we're going to the next level wages, but we're not getting the next level ability of footballers. Snodgrass and Font on 125 grand a week or whatever combined is next level. It's next level wages, but the players are not next level, and that it's a bit worrying. That actually, this almost reminds me. It's not so bad, but it almost reminds me of the Icelandic period when they started throwing money around a little bit, and then once the sort of shine come off it, we were stuck with players on big wages. We had to give them money to get out of the club. We said, well, we owe you this much, but will you take this much and please leave? And they said, yeah, okay, here we go. It's not as bad as that. I know I'm over dramatising it a little bit, but it's got sort of a little bit split that. But Zabaleta thing, do you think that's maybe because of Bayern? He's obviously played okay the last few games. He played really well against Swansea. So do you think people, or maybe Bilic or the board, are looking at Bayern and go, well, he's got it in his locker, but if you get Zabaleta in for a year or two, and let Bayern have a year or two of being the second choice right back, come the end of Zabaleta's reign at West Ham, Bayern should be ready. If he's not, he's just not going to make it in the Premier League.
I wouldn't argue with that as a policy, but I do argue with, I'm not even arguing with the fact that Zabaleta might be the chosen one for that, but not at that money, just not at that money. It's too much. It's too much for. I doubt there are too many right backs in world football that earn that money, and I mean that. When I do the rich list of the 20 top valued clubs in the world, don't they? And I think we were 17th, 18th this year, and all the usual suspects are on there. All the big clubs, Inter Milan and Bayern Munich, and blah. I bet there are a lot of those clubs in that top 20 richest clubs in the world that don't have a right back on 80 grand a week. It's just too much to pay. It's certainly too much. Maybe Man U or Real Madrid pay that, or Barcelona. West Ham should not be having a right back on £80,000 a week, particularly not one that's a sticking plaster short term. As you said, repair job. It's a great analogy. We should be building afresh, as you said.
I think to counter that, I suppose if he's going to go to a club like Liverpool, it's a lot more attractable and come to West Ham. If he's going to come down to West Ham and sort of downgrade that much, you sort of need to compensate him a little bit, give him a bit of persuasion. But and again, you could say how much is it over 3 years? Say you take out a £2 million transfer fee. If there was a transfer fee. What's his wage? 50 grand a week. Then you might say, oh, okay, that's not too bad. Glenn Johnson's also apparently leaving Stoke this summer. Would you take him instead? Because he'd obviously be a lot cheaper.
I don't know, mate. This is not why we moved, Gio. I've got to say, this is not why we moved stadium. I don't think so. I really don't. I honestly, I'm going to get frustrated. I've never looked forward to a transfer window as little as this one, actually.
It scares me, this one. It could go horrible if tits up again.
Oh, we could have done all of this stuff. We could have signed Glenn Johnson at Upton Park. In fact, we did sign Glenn Johnson at Upton Park. But we could have signed these Snodgrass. We could have signed him at Upton Park. All these players could have come in at Upton Park. I'm not seeing. You're talking about this exactly. This next level money was a great turn of phrase that you used then. The whole point was to get the next level player up, not just to spend a bit more money.
To quote Baroness Brady, world-class stadium with world-class players.
Yeah, I think possibly we might have one on our hands in Lanzini, but again, we got him when we were at Upton Park, but we haven't, we've plucked him from Al Jazeera for 8 million or whatever. So no, I've got nothing against Glenn Johnson. He could well be a decent stopgap. I just thought we were beyond all that. I really did think we were beyond all that. I want somebody who's I want a 25-year-old right back who is one of the top prospects in European football. Who's going to come in and we're going to go and spend 15 million on a really good right back. He's going to be on 50 grand a week, and then he could potentially become a 30 million pound player. That's what I want to see. Sorry?
The next Zabaleta.
There you go.
Instead of the older one, get the newer one.
Yeah.
But as you know, I still want Smith from Bournemouth, but I doubt we'll get him. I just can't see us paid the money for it. I don't know why. I'm quite scared almost at how little big moves we're being linked with. Last summer was all, I know we got over the top, but we almost got dangled some carrots a little bit. We're not even getting carrots anymore. They're sort of saying, just come anyway. We're not going to promise you, and then just come for a watch next season and see what you get. What about outgoings though? Still no new contract for a goalie. But what I was going to say about the right back though, I think we need to find out. I think between now and the end of the season, what we need to find out is if Byron's good enough. It's very well doing it against Swansea, but his tests are going to be Everton, Spurs, and Liverpool. If he does well in those 3 games, it would almost suggest he can do it. And I think that sort of allows you to go get a Zabaleta for a year or 2. But if he can't do it and he is struggling, that's when you do have to go get the checkbook out, unfortunately, because Byron's just not cutting it. He's not young anymore. I think he's 24, 25. He turns 24 or 25 in September. It's not young. Antonio joined us, what was he, 26 last season?
Yep.
So, there's only a year gap. One of them's not quite good enough. It reminds me of James Tompkins. I remember the club put out a tweet, happy birthday to James Tompkins, and he was like 28. I thought, hang on.
He's the future.
I'm still thinking he's got potential. He's now at his peak. I thought, where did all that time go? some are outgoings, Norvite and Cleary. Do you think we should be giving them? Let's say we win at Sunderland. Is it time to give them a chance? And if they don't cut it out, they go. Because I know Clay is a loan, but there's a talk that he's actually returning next season on loan again because Bilic likes him.
Well, again, that would really depress me if that was the case. I've got to say, if Bilic has seen, I thought we're moving up to the next level. What on earth has Bilic seen in him that he thinks is going to propel West Ham up to the next level next season? I think that's a rumour. Personally, there's no chance of us ever owning him really because of his third-party ownership. So with that in mind, the best that could possibly happen, he come back for another year on loan. He's never going to set the world alight because he's not that good. Sorry, do you want to say something?
That was what I say. You can't buy him though, even though he's third-party ownership. You can still buy him.
Yeah, but we won't because they're really, really difficult to deal with. Those third-party ownership, they all want a fortune because they've not bought. They've been bought by people who buy players as a commodity. So they all loads of people buy a share in a player in the hope that he becomes great. The Neymar transfer was a huge case in point. And people have gone to prison for it. I think Barcelona possibly had a transfer embargo about it as well. It was dodgy as hell. And the trouble is when everybody's looking for a slice of pie and everybody's looking to try and make some profit, everybody is going to think he's the next Neymar, even though he clearly isn't. So rather than us getting him at a reasonable price like we got Lanzini for, which was 8 million, people are going to be expecting 25 million, and it's just going to be an almost impossible transfer negotiation. So I don't see the point in playing him from now to the end of the season. Nordvight's a different case in point because we've got him on a free and we own him. So I think it's probably prudent, particularly if we become safe, for us to have a look at him, see how good he can be and see what he can do because he's got a long-term contract with us and he's ours. Cleary just isn't.
I agree with that. I think the only thing I'd say with Cleary is the people at the top of the club, and Bilic probably will know if we can get him for next season, whether it's permanent or another loan. I'd take him on loan as long as it was like the fourth choice striker. So there was Carroll, sort of default, plus the big money one, and then Cleary. I'd take that, and then it allows Fletcher out on loan. But what about the goalkeeper situation? I don't want us to discuss this in the preview because it could take up a few minutes. Our previews are only 10, 15 minutes long, so I don't want to be chatting about the goalie really. So I'm going to discuss it tonight. I mean, Randolph's been a bit jittery recently, and I think it was about. There was a lot of polls on social media and websites. I think there was 75% wanted to see the keepers changed for the Swansea game, but he stuck with him. He got his clean sheet. Do you think it's boiling down to whether he's going in the summer or not?
What, Randolph or Adrian?
Adrian, do you think it's because his contract's up? He's still not got a new one. The club still haven't activated the 2-year thing. So is it sort of, yeah? Do you think, would you change the keeper or would you sort of leave Randolph in just because he's going to be here next year?
Well, I like Adrian. I like him because he's got character. He cheers the crowd up. He tries to get them going. Crikey, we need a bit some of that this season at different points, haven't we? So he comes over and sees the fans. I like that. The fans like that. It's
But Robert Snodgrass came over after the game on Saturday to cut the crowd. Does that mean you want to see him as well?
Not like Adrian does. Adrian is really involved. He joins in the banter. People know what I mean. He really.
That's because Snodgrass tries to come over and him tells him to F off.
Yeah.
It's not very welcome.
Yeah, he's thinking I won't do that again. We were also linked with Pickford, which is you're talking about a preview in that. And I was flicking through Claret and Hugh today, and it says the headline was whatever, West Ham in for double swoop for Sunderland or something like that. I thought, oh, good. Defoe and Pickford, but it was actually Defoe and Kone. Yeah, I'd like to see us do the same again. The same thing we're discussing. Let's go and get somebody young. Let's build for the future. If we retain one of the keepers, then great. I'm not overly fussed which one it is, Adrian or Randolph, but I'd certainly like us to be buying another keeper. I think we should be trying to improve any place in a team, any point in the team that we can improve. We should be trying to do so because I think that's one thing we lacked. We had not only did we have a poor summer transfer window, we had a poor winter transfer window. I said at the start of last season, at the start of this season, we bought for Europe and we went for squad padding rather than buying people to improve the first team, and we suffered because of it. And I just think we did the same again. We just didn't really improve the first team. You couldn't say that Font is better than Ogbonna or Reed. You can say that Snodgrass is, better than Antonio Lenzini or whoever else. I just don't think we've done that. So I think we've got to start doing that. That's got to be the first thing we do in our transfers. Look, if we could at any point, be it right back, left back, centre back, goalkeeper, striker, whatever, if there's any point where a player becomes available and you think actually that guy is going to now improve the team and help us build for the future, then that's what we have to do. And I think Pickford would certainly fall into that category.
Yeah, I've been ranting and raving and wanting him since we started doing videos for a wee while ago. So, this season anyway. A couple of games now. Liverpool games we moved. We've only got one 3 p.m. game left this season. Three home games left this season, and only one of them's on Saturday at 3 o'clock.
Well, inconvenience is no one more than you, mate. And everyone's got their own story, haven't they? I mean, I think all our best games this season in terms of a day out and a planning has been 3 o'clock Saturday kickoffs. We were saying it earlier to each other, weren't we? And you know what you can do on a Saturday? You get home, the transport's working, you haven't got work the next day unless you're sort of very unlucky and you're working on a Sunday. For ours, my wife's only been to one game this season. She came to the European games, possibly Astra, poor girl. So this was her game, was Liverpool. So we've got 4 kids, we've arranged babysitters, all arranged. There you go. Everyone's got their own story. You got a story?
Yeah, I'm not very happy. I've got to take a day off work for the Spurs game, and now I'm going to have to take a day off for the Liverpool one as well. But it's just the Hammers chat thing. We had a party planned for the boats after the Liverpool game. That's on a Sunday. It's sort of, do we do it or not? Is people going to turn up? I don't know. Well, I'll put something out in the forum and that. It's almost question time. Get your questions in. Charlie, encourage your questions in the live chat on YouTube. If you're watching it back and you're wondering what I'm on about, when we do it live at 8:30 on whatever night it is, there's a live chat on YouTube and people fire in their questions and we'll sit and chat through them. Another game that might be cancelled altogether is Australian Tour. There's a little bit of debate over the money situation. For a surprise, West Ham want more money to go over to Australia and play games. This is a bit annoying though, Gonzo, the fact that we can't play any home friendlies in the summer.
It's slightly annoying, but you can have no complaints. We knew the deal when we signed it.
The fans can have complaints.
No, you can have the fans can complain, but there's nothing you can do about it. We signed, the fans can complain, perhaps we shouldn't have signed there, in which case there was no other option. That stadium was built for the Olympics and the 2017 Athletics World Championships. The first people that put money into that stadium were UK Athletics long before we did. Okay, I'm not saying it's right. I wish we still owned our stadium, okay, but that's the deal we're in. So, it's in the same way if you had a deal with somebody at your house and someone else came along and put in some money later on and started dictating terms to you, say, "Oi, this is my holiday let. I was here before you. This is the agreed. We booked our holiday before you did." That's more or less what's happening here in this situation. So, so with that in mind, beggars can't be choosers, and we are beggars because we are renting a facility that is booked out through the co-tenants, which are UK Athletics co-tenants. They have it. That's their time. That's what we signed up for. That's what we agreed on. We just have to deal with it. So with that in mind, beggars can't be choosers. We just have to deal with and do whatever we can to get these foreign games. I feel sorry for the Australian fans. Actually, we've got loads and loads of Australian friends, Australian West Ham fans on Hammers chat, and the West Ham family as a whole. There's lots of them. I know they're desperate for contact. A lot of these people that are the fans, just Australia, wherever, their contact with the club are blogs and vlogs and channels like ours. Sometimes I know there was a point in Australia last season, possibly, I can't remember exactly, but their television deal, I think, was in dispute, and I think they weren't getting Premier League football for a certain amount of time. And it's not as easy as them finding an internet stream. Sometimes they can't even do that. So they almost have next to no contact with the club, and you'd see them desperately on the forum saying, "What's the score? What's going on? Can somebody give me an update, please?" And I know they really would have been looking forward to West Ham going over there as their chance to go and see, some of their heroes play. So I feel sorry for them, really. Hopefully they can sort it out and it can be made to happen.
West Ham made a signing today, Gonzo. Did you see it?
It's a computer geezer, an Xbox geezer, right?
Yeah, we're saying Jimbo.
Hey, who's Jimbo?
I don't know. That's his name, apparently. I wonder if he can play right back. That'll be handy. Get him on the right back with the controller in his hand, see what he can do. Um, did you see who won the goal of the month for? I assume it's for March. I don't know. I watched the goal, but I assume it's March's goal of the month. Did you see it?
No, listen, I'm sorry. I've been watching reruns of Walking Dead. I know literally nothing. I've not read the papers, the telly, watched the telly, anything. Who's won goal of the month?
It was a West Ham ladies player. It was quite a good goal, though. It was a volley from about 20 yards out. But yeah, it's something I've never seen happen before at West Ham, so I thought I'd mention that. While we're waiting for the questions,
Well done.
we've got a few questions now. Victor says, "What? Right, this is quite a good question, actually. There was also a rumour earlier in the week that Ginge might get a new deal at the end of next season. What do you make of that? He's still got a year left on his contract."
I think possibly he doesn't need to. If he's got a year left, he doesn't need to get a new deal. That man has to stay around. Somebody on the radio, Victor, I asked you a question. Somebody on the radio the other day said West Ham love a trier. And somebody else on the radio said, "Oh, no, they like a silky player," and I think they were arguing with each other, but they were both right. You look at who we take to our hearts, though. We have taken Ginge to our hearts, and think of another player we took to our hearts, Carlton Cole. And I'll tell you what they have in common. Those two, they love the club. They had an affinity with the fans, and they love the club. And neither started their careers at West Ham, but both now, you would say, Carlton Cole and James Collins, a proper West Ham. Do you know what I mean? They understand. And we took, Carlton Cole has long since departed, and he will be welcome back forevermore. And I would put James Collins into that category. There's something about those people that money can't buy. And if you knew you could get that thing, that stuff, whatever it is that makes them that character, that makes them the embodiment of the club, so to speak. If you knew you could get that in a certain player, you'd sign him in an instant. Because I tell you what, I've got nothing but utmost respect. They get out of the team. Carlton Cole takes away his job. He gets both of them could be out of the team for months on end, weeks on end, not a peep. Yet when they get selected, they come in, they try their absolute hardest. And yeah, I mean, if he's got a year left, he probably doesn't need another deal. But again, like we were saying with Mark Noble, I'd love him to carry on for the rest of his life and go on to the coaching team. Job for life at West Ham if it was up to me, James Collins, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, I would want him to see him play beyond the end of next year, purely because, unfortunately for Ginge, we've got Burke and Oxford waiting in the wings, and it's sort of him and Font are the two players that's in their way a little bit. And end of next year, I think it's about right. I didn't want him to get a deal. I didn't want him to get the deal that would carry him through till this season or next. But the going got tough this season. He's one of the first names on the team sheet. And to be fair, you just said you missed out a player, actually. Our keeper, you were just talking about a minute ago. He's got that sort of for the club. I think Andy Carroll's got a bit about it as well, actually. I think Andy Carroll, although he's obviously a Newcastle fan, everybody knows he's a Newcastle fan, I think he gets it. As well. And you're right, there's a few people that just get it. There's a few players that can be here for a few years and they just don't get it. Sort of Diafra Sakho, for example, I just don't think he really gets it. I've never felt it with him. But for me, end of next year, I'd like to see him move into the backroom staff, etc. Like you said, Noble, job for life, mate. Sean Sweeney says, do you think, we've done this one before, but I'll let you answer it. Do you think we'll eventually own the stadium?
I do, Sean. I think that the Vodafone deal, which they're talking about, I think it's not going to pay enough. I think they run it an 8 million deficit each year at the moment. They think they can get that down to 5. Well, do you know what? Even if the Vodafone deal is going to pay them 3.3 million a year, they're still going to be running a deficit at some point. The mayor's office are just going to have enough. I think someone will come in and say, look, there you go. Bang, there's 300 million for the stadium or something like that. And the mayor's office will just say, do you know what? I think we're just going to take, we've had the games. We've had the Olympics. We've had the 2017. That's what it was built for. Let's cut our losses. You have it. So, yeah, I do. I think that's what will eventually happen.
Yeah, I think so too. When, I don't know, but I think it will. But funny enough, you just name dropped the next question by Connor. What do you make of the Vodafone stadium rights deal? If it happens.
Well, West Ham won't get any money out of it. And we need the... Sorry, is it Connor, did you say?
Yes.
Yeah, so Connor, it's... we need the stadium to be at least making a little bit of money because it can't be a white elephant. Otherwise, we'll have nowhere to play. So I think it's good for them. The one thing that apparently they might do is sort out the the Wi-Fi links and the 4G and all the rest of it, which was really good for us because we did a review straight after the game at the weekend, and we just could not upload it. We had it there. We took the computer, we took the camera, we took all the stuff. We're down the boats. We did the review, and we went to upload it. And normally a video, when we do a video, it will take about 25 minutes to upload in total. It basically straight away said 2.5 hours. And thank you, George, for trying to help me with that, young George there. If they improve the Wi-Fi and the 4G, I'll be happy. We're not going to get any money out of it, though.
No, I almost think it's quite funny, actually. What I was actually saying to a couple of people when this was before we beat Swansea, we were talking about relegation. I said the reason I'm really worried is because we don't own anything. So before we got relegated, we always had Upton Park. So our only income now, obviously we've got our sponsorship deals, but our only income now is TV money and ticket sales. And if we get relegated, both naturally decrease. Whereas if you were Upton Park, you had the catering money, stuff like the catering money. A £4 burger in Premier League is still £4 in the Championship. It doesn't change price. But if we went down to the Championship, we don't have that sort of extra revenue, the catering money, etc. We don't have it. You know, Upton Park had a boxing match now and again or whatever. The London Stadium will still have stuff like that, but we don't get any money out of it. And I just worry that if the TV money disappears, I do worry about our West Ham's income stream. And I just think this sort of stadium naming rights almost quite funny because I think it has to be $4 million a season for West Ham to get a share, and it's sort of 3.3 million. I think it's almost quite. Oh, well, you might have a good deal with the rent, but you ain't getting a slice of this. We'll happily take something just underneath that threshold, so you get none of it.
But we'll do that. We can't complain. West Ham will do that. If we get a player and it says after 14 games his transfer's been made permanent, we'll make sure he plays 13 games and 20 minutes or whatever that. But we'll play that game, so you can't complain when other people do.
Well, yeah, it doesn't. To be honest with you, I don't really care who names the stadium. As Tesco, Vodafone, doesn't really make a difference to me. The only thing I care about is how much jokes we can get out of him. Vodafone's quite a good one. Can make a few jokes. I seen someone said like something about Vodafone would be a bit like Andy Carroll. You don't get any service at the London Stadium. So I was like, I like that one. Credit to that guy.
Hey, credit. Is that another one? Credit to that guy.
Yeah, there you go. £10 top up for him. Sean says, what do you think about the potential ground share with Chelsea?
Not ideal, Sean, to be fair, but again, I might seem very pragmatic. I am pragmatic. I'm just resigned to the fact we don't own our stadium anymore. So we just have to get used to it. 2017 Athletics, Vodafone being sponsors, us not getting any money. If the stadium deem, because they're losing money, that Chelsea will pay them enough that the stadium makes a profit, then they're going to do it. It's not ideal. I think if they came in, would probably be naughty things going on with the West Ham memorabilia inside and all that. Of how they'd rebrand it, I don't know. Do you know what? It's not really our concern. It's not really our worry. I could well see it happening though. But again, we've got no say in it. We can do nothing about it at all.
Well, I wouldn't like it. I think it'd almost be twisting a knife a little bit. I think it just. I know we have no say, but it would just feel like the gods among us are just twisting a knife in our stadium, move that little bit more, saying, take this. And people say it's time to make it home. It's starting to feel like home. Well, if that was to happen, it would take 3 steps backwards for it to feeling like home. When you've got our fixture list would then come all over the place. We're complaining about the Liverpool game getting changed. Well, Chelsea ground share comes in, be prepared to complain about fixture.
Oh, and they'd wind us up constantly as well. Then make no mistake about it. You know, Chelsea would be on us. I mean, it would be really, really nasty, really horrible. Unfortunately, just nothing we can do about it. Nothing at all.
Hammer Time asks, would you like to see youth in this side? I don't know if it means this season or next. I think he's more this season. But what about the rest of this season? Don't really have any youth left, are they? They're all out of mode.
Yeah, I was thinking about it today, actually. That's the one thing. So I knew we'd be talking about this tonight. I was thinking about Slav's position. I did think if Slav gets another year, then we probably will have to wait an additional year after that to see some youth regularly blooded into the side. I was watching Everton play. Who did Everton play? They won 4-2 at the weekend.
Leicester.
Yeah. Watched that, got home and watched that, and he loves a youngster, Koeman. He really does get him in there.
But he's got security. This is why Bilic can't play the youth. He's got no security. We're talking about this now. You said if he loses the rest of his games this season, he's probably going to get sacked. So he can't play youth between now and the end of the season then, because if youth cost him points, youth will cost you points because But the pro side is they're getting experience. You find out if they're good enough. You try and make them good enough. So you have to sort of be willing to sacrifice errors. Like when we played Everton away last season, Reece Oxford made one mistake all game, but he got spun by Lukaku and Lukaku scored. So it was crucial. It cost. We eventually won 3-2, but it could have cost us point. You just have to sort of grin and bear it, unfortunately, when it's youth and sort of accept that it's experience.
Yeah, he has security now, Gio. But when he got the job after Pochettino at Southampton, there was nothing to say he was going to be there for any length of time at all. Yet straight away he got in there, he started throwing youth in the team. Actually, I think it's been a feature of Koeman's career.
At Southampton, though, Pochettino brought youth into the team. Every manager,
and he's done it at Tottenham as well. Yeah, I mean, I understand what you're saying, and you're trying to say, but actually, you brought up another one there. There's an example of two managers who are not afraid to throw youth in there, and our one doesn't seem to do so. So yeah, I would like to see more. I understand why you're giving mitigation. You're giving mitigation why he doesn't. All right, I understand that. Take a mitigation aside. There you go. Say that. Okay, so because Slav's scared, he doesn't put youth into the team. So that's what I'm saying. Because he's scared, we won't see it for another year.
Yeah, well, I think if he was given a new deal, I'm not saying that's what should happen, but if he was given a new deal, you'd maybe expect a bit more youth coming in. But I would see those two next year. And I mean, when I say see them, I mean on the bench regularly, getting game time regularly. I'd be happy. I'd consider that a success if we've seen those two because we've got enough other young players. Like Fernandez, he's the other one. I know he's not youth, but I'd like to see him in the team a bit more. I like to see when we play Sunderland on Saturday. I'd like to see Declan Rice on the bench. I think I don't go to under 23 games, but I've heard good things about him from people that do go. So I'd like to see him on the bench at least, just for the experience of going away with the first team, etc., etc. Things like that will help them. Stuart, this is a quick question. Stuart says, would you sell Andy Carroll in the summer?
I wouldn't, Stuart. I think the last thing we need to do is sell anyone that's effective in the Premier League. I think he's one of the few people that are above average. We've got a few of them, haven't we? Lanzini and Antonio, Obiang, Reed. Carroll can have his ineffective games, but he is someone that can compete at Premier League level. I think as it stands at the moment, we keep him, although his contract is running down, as I understand it. So be interesting to see what happens on that. I wouldn't sell him though.
That'd be neat, though. That's ridiculous money. Hayes Liam says, it's not really a question. I'm going to take it as a question. Do you think Feghouli gets too much stick from fans?
Possibly a little bit, Liam. Yeah, I do actually. I think he's. I'd certainly rather him on the pitch than Snodgrass. Sounds like I'm digging Snodgrass out a lot. Well, because I am digging Snodgrass out a lot. I guess that's what it sounds like it is. He's all right. He's all right. I'd be very disappointed if we didn't sign a better player than Feghouli. Having said that, I can also understand the temptation of the board that if he came in on the free and someone wants to pay 10 million for him, I can understand the temptation of that. He's all right. He's all right. He gives a little bit of pace, and that's the team's lacking at the moment. That's why sometimes I like to see him brought on, but I'd like to see a better option.
Yeah. As for your question, Liam, about stick, I don't think he gets that much stick. He does sometimes, obviously, but I think Snodgrass has overtook him in the stick stakes, if you like. And I think Noble was well ahead of him previously. So he's not the main culprit. But, I mean, there was when he come on Saturday against Swansea, I suppose, when he did come on, there was a lot of, he's bringing on Feghouli. What's he bringing Feghouli on for? I'm not saying he deserves it, but he's not exactly giving us much to shout about. And it's like you said, West Ham fans like grafters. He hasn't even done that part right. The last couple, there's been a few games you can point out, like Hull, when he's standing on the halfway line, his man's running forward and ends up scoring. He's just still standing on the halfway line. He's moved about 3 yards in the space Roberts has moved about 60. Things like that just do not help your case. If you're giving 100%, I think the fans will get off your back a little bit. Like Snodgrass on Saturday, he didn't have the best game, but fans said, well, he tried. He
did work hard.
So we're not going to slag him off today. We'll mention that he wasn't great going forward, but he gave effort, so we'll leave him alone for this week. I think Feghouli ups his effort a little bit.
Well, to be fair to Feghouli, he was heavily involved in what I would call a capitulation against Bournemouth. He was very poor that day, and I don't think that helped. I think a lot of people stood up and thought, hold on, what's going on here, you know?
Lack of effort as well. I mean, it's just poor. It's just poor. Victor, I think I know your answer from this one. Victor says, would you take Traoré from Middlesbrough? 'Cause it does look like they're going to be joining Sunderland in the drop.
Sorry, take who from Middlesbrough?
Traoré, the fast winger.
The Barcelona one. The Barcelona one that was at Aston Villa. Yes, Victor. Yeah, I like him. We need pace and technique. He needs a bit of end product, but yeah, I really like him. Definitely. Oh, I'd be delighted if we could get him and Wilshere it up. Yeah, I mean, be really good, and a striker and a right back. I'm getting a bit happy with someone else's money here, but yeah, that would be great. Yeah, that would be an improvement. That would definitely improve things.
He frustrates me too much. Too much times I see him take on his man, and his cross is just rubbish. It ends up behind the goal, ends up 10 yards over the other side of the pitch. He's too much like Antonio for me. He's got pace, he's got skills. He just doesn't have the end product. And for me, I think it would cost too much money. I think we sort of need. He said Premier League proven. I'm not quite sure he's there yet. He's not like Zaha, who's blatantly in his prime right now. He's buzzing. But he'd be big nuts. But with Traoré, just not sure. Mark's asking what players would sell in the summer, but we'll save that for next time because that's a lengthy answer. But very quickly, last couple of questions. Aero Walker says, what youth player do you want to see play more next season? Pick one. You'll get one player. Who do you want to see the most?
I would like to see young Nathan Holland play a bit, actually. I've changed my mind on that. I've answered that. We've had that question a few times.
It changes, though, doesn't it? You read reports, you hear things, see things, so it changes.
Yeah. So I'll go Nathan Holland. Sounds very exciting.
Gonzo, guess who mine is? You've got one guess.
Cullen.
Yes. Same as August. Since August, I've not changed my answer. Josh Cullen, I want to see him in centre midfield. I want to see if you'll make it. But anyway, we'll be back tomorrow night. Gonzo Thursday night, 8:30, doing the preview. Looking forward to Saturday's game.
Yeah, I'm not going. I'm not going. We've got an Easter egg hunt, so which hopefully we'll find lots of chocolate and 3 points as well. So that's we need to win. We need to win, mate.
And any last news or rumours or questions or that you'd like to bring up before we say au revoir?
No, I think it's been a good show actually, mate. I mean, we've done an hour, haven't we? I think we've packed quite a lot into the hour. There's been it's never dull in the life of West Ham, is it? There's always quite a lot to discuss, and I'm sure when we reconvene next week, there'll be a lot to discuss again.
Yeah, there'll probably be another 2 managers linked with Bilic's job, despite beating Sunderland. We'll be safe, and we'll be linked with a 35-year-old right back with no club next season and a striker for £1 million and a Calero deal. But anyway, hit the subscribe button. There should be a subscribe button about here right now, so make sure you click on it. Subscribe to the channel. Be kind. We'll be back on Thursday night. Hit the preview. If you're watching this after the preview will be about here somewhere, so click on that. Come watch it. But thank you for joining us, and like we said, we'll see you next time. So make sure you keep your eyes on social media on the forum at hammerschat.com to find out when it is. You can get involved in the live chat. Come speak to Tom and Charlie in the live chat and ask us questions if you wish to, or give your opinion on what we're talking about. Anyway, I've been Gio, that's been Gonzo. We've been here having a cup of tea in association with our sponsor, Royal London Watches, and we'll see you next time.